Welcome to Marriage and Family Counseling. Our Marriage and Family Counseling course is a broad overview in which we will introduce you to a solid biblical foundation of effective counseling and effective helps for marriage and family work that you'll be doing as a counselor. Now, we'll also not only bring you a biblical foundation in this course, we will also be bringing in and integrating clinically based, evidence based best practices to support you, to give you knowledge, to give you understanding, tools to help you effectively work with the families that you'll be ministering to as a biblical counselor. And so I can tell you, as a licensed marriage and family therapist, that some of the most difficult counseling sessions that you will ever have, and the most heartbreaking counseling sessions that you will ever have, occur within the relationship of a husband and wife. They come in, many times hearts are broken, there's great stress, and there is conflict. If you can get a couple beyond that stage of conflict, if they will grow past that stage with you, if you can work together with them to that point, you will see some of the most powerful breakthroughs. You will see some of the most incredible happenings of restoration, healing, and forgiveness between two individuals that submit themselves to one another and are letting God do the work in their life as marriage, as a married couple. And so, is it challenging? Absolutely. Is it sometimes difficult? You better believe it. But the reward is on the other side. And so God bless you as you walk through this course and as you begin to equip yourself to be an effective marriage and family counselor. You might ask the question, does marriage and family counseling actually work? Does marriage counseling work? Does it really help anybody? And I would say this, that it absolutely 100% can help every couple. The, the deal is this, marriage counseling works for those who want it to work. Now, if a couple comes to you with a reoccurring problem or some problem that has surfaced in their life, they've made that session, they're coming in for help. If only one person wants help, you're not going to be very successful. But if both individuals, both of the couples, both of the parties come to you for help and they both want help and they're both willing to work through the problem together, you can help 100% of those families. Marriage counseling works 100% of the time for both couples who want it to work. Now, in a relationship, you have this pattern in every relationship. In the best of relationships, you have a pattern of harmony, disharmony, and reconnection. It's kind of like walking. You walk, you get off balance, you get back into balance. It's a dance. It's this back and forth and it's this flow. That is just the nature of humanity and the human experience. You're going to have good days and bad days. You're going to get it right some days, and some days you won't. And so when you meet a couple for the very first time and have scheduled an appointment, you're going to meet this couple at a point of disharmony. And so it is the challenge of every counselor to help that couple get from that place of disharmony back to reconnection. And that is the process. And so does marriage and family counseling work? Does marriage counseling work? Absolutely. There's much research behind this that the results do find that there can be very effective results, but it always hinges on the willingness and the humility of the partners involved. When a married couple comes to you for the very first time, they have made the appointment for marriage counseling. They typically are coming to you with a recurring problem or something that has come up in their lives, and they want help. But when they come to you, they are in this place of conflict. They are in this place of disharmony. And it's as though they're sitting in front of you with clenched fist. It's generally something about something that they can't let go. They won't let go. They are doubling down on. And the question really isn't, what are you fighting about? The question really is, what are you fighting for? I have learned this, that within every clenched fist, there is something so important to that individual that they can't let it go. It is a value, it is a need, it is something so important that they can't let it go. And many of the times, the things that we get fixated on, the demands, the raised voices, are just outward expressions of a deeper internal need that's not being met. And so within every clenched fist, within every fist, if you open it up, there's a dream, there's a value, there's a need, there's the relationship that they truly want, or they feel like they've been not heard, they're taken for granted, they're overlooked, or any one of those types of things. But we often look at the surface issues. We try to help them to communicate better, or we say what you'll need, what will fix this is a date night. But all of those things are helpful and good, and they're great directions and guidance to give a couple to bond and connect, yes. But typically, when you work with an individual or two individuals that come to you in a point of conflict, you've got to go beneath the surface because the raised voices, the demands, all of that are just inflammation. The true virus that runs through the relationship that's infecting the relationship is much deeper and typically unseen. And so the counselor, the biblical counselor, if you're doing marriage counseling, you've got to pause the couple and don't let the couple just run away and argue in front of you for hours on end. They can do that at home. What you want to do is take them to the point where you can pause, you can open up that fist and evaluate and explore what's inside. What is so important that you can't let go? You see the inflammation, but let's look at the virus. You see the fruit of the problem, but let's go to the root of the problem. Don't just lose sight on the symptoms. You must go to the source. And this is where the experience of a good family counselor can be so helpful to so many families. This is where you will see real help begin. And so you'll get to the point where you can talk about communication and you can talk about growing closer. But in that place of disharmony and distress and conflict, the way you break through that stage is to go beneath the surface and open up the clenched fist and see what they're holding on to so tight. And this is the process of good and effective marriage counseling. Let me talk to you about divorce by the numbers. Unfortunately, the numbers do not look very encouraging for marriage today in America. First time marriages in America fail at a rate of 45%. And that number is consistent whether a family is in church or out of church. 45% of first time marriages will fail. Now, according to the statistics, those marriages that end in divorce, that 45%, those folks will not celebrate their eighth anniversary. The marriage tends to fall apart well before the 8 year mark. And then what happens? Because we're created for connection, we want relationship. We typically go into another relationship, another marriage. And what we know is that 65% of second time marriages will end in divorce. And then what happens? We go into the next relationship. Third marriages fail by a rate of 70%. What does that teach us? That teaches us that we typically don't get it right the second time. We typically don't get it right the third time. What happens in this failed relationship? Typically, we never really develop the skills of awareness and connection and how to communicate and how to put the other person's needs ahead of ours and how to live sacrificially, and we fail. And sure enough, we go into the next relationship. Those skills are not learned, those awarenesses are not achieved. And we bring that baggage, we bring that pain, and we attract the same type of pain into our lives, and the marriage fails once again. And then it reoccurs. It's like watching a terrible movie with one bad remake after another. It ends the same way. Now, if the couple will stay in the relationship and they will work through the problems and they will gain the awareness and the skills and the relationship techniques that we'll talk about in this course, they can actually thrive in the relationship and they can work through the relationship and they can get stronger in the relationship. But often in America today, we see one failed relationship after another. Jesus spoke about relationships, he spoke about marriage, and Jesus spoke about the hardness of man's heart. I want you to notice in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 19, verse 8, he said to them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, permitted you to divorce your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. What does this verse teach us? It teaches us that God's original plan for a man and a woman was to be united, to be married. It was a lifetime covenant between God, man, and a woman. In the beginning, this was God's original desire, but because of the hardness of man's heart in the Mosaic law, God permitted a, gave permission for a bill of divorcement, a process of divorcement. Why did he allow this? Because of the hardness of our hearts. The word hardness is an interesting word. It has this idea of stubbornness. It has this idea of being obstinate. But God also gives us another promise in the Word of God. He gives us the promise that He can take our hard heart of stone, and make it a heart of flesh, a heart that's soft, a heart that's moldable, a heart and a mind that's like Christ. And so, is there hope for the home today? Absolutely. But hope is only appropriated in our life as we work through the process of relationship, as we go through the process of healing and restoration with another human being that we are in covenant with. And this is the role of the marriage counselor. We collaborate with the couple, we guide the couple, we are with them through this journey as they go from harmony to disharmony, back to reconnection. The reconnection can be stronger, the relationship can be better. Problems do come up in a relationship. Is any problem fatal or final? It doesn't have to be. because we serve a great God, a God that is all powerful. In relationship is where we learn so much about ourselves. Yes, we learn about our partner, and we learn so much about the very heart and nature of God. Relationships are beautiful, and it is where that you will find so much of your personal maturity and wisdom will evolve in your own heart and in your own life. It is in that realm of community and relationship.